Have you ever felt like no matter how much you do, how far you go, or how hard you try, something inside still feels unsettled? You meditate, but your mind won't be quiet. You try to rest, but you wake up more tired. You're surrounded by people, yet feel completely alone. If this sounds familiar, you're not broken. You're simply out of alignment with yourself. In this video, we're not going to fix you, because Zen says you're not something to be fixed. You're something to be remembered, reclaimed, returned to. What if the peace you're chasing is already within you? Not in some future goal, not in someone's approval, but right here, in this breath, in this moment. We'll explore timeless Zen stories, paradoxes that open your heart, and practices so simple, they may just change how you live forever. But first, let me take you somewhere. There was a man racing on horseback down a dusty road. A bystander shouted, "Where are you going?" And the man yelled back, "I don't know. Ask the horse." That horse is your mind. And for most of us, it's been dragging us along for years. So if you're ready to take the reins back, to come home to yourself, and to finally taste the sweetness of this one wild, ordinary life, stay with me. Let's begin this journey inward together. If you've ever felt this way, drop a 1 in the comments so we know we're not alone. And if this video brings you peace, consider subscribing to help keep this space alive. There's a strange irony in our world today. We have more information than ever, yet feel more confused. More convenience, yet less time. More ways to connect, yet growing loneliness. So many of us lie awake at night, exhausted, not from physical labor, but from mental weight. We're not tired because we've done too much. We're tired because we've thought too much, worried too much, pretended too much, and somehow, in all the noise, we've forgotten how to be still. Think about it. We scroll in silence, yet our minds scream. We multitask to the point of numbness. And even in moments of quiet, our minds rehearse the past or anticipate the next battle. Peace feels distant because we're always somewhere else. We keep searching for the perfect place, the perfect job, the perfect partner, thinking then we'll finally feel safe. But Zen whispers something radically different. You are not missing peace. You are simply distracted from it. Zen doesn't offer escape. It offers return to what's already here. A quiet that isn't external silence, but an internal spaciousness. A stillness that isn't the absence of noise, but the presence of attention. Imagine this. You're sitting by a lake at dawn. The surface is glassy. The world hasn't woken up yet. And in that moment, you're not thinking about bills or emails or what they said last week. You're simply here. That feeling, that's not because of the lake. It's because for once you stopped running. Zen asks, what if the peace you're chasing is hiding beneath your resistance? What if your constant doing is a way of avoiding simply being? Now, this isn't your fault. We've been taught that productivity equals worth, that silence is laziness, that slowing down means falling behind. But what if the real danger is rushing so fast that we miss our life entirely? There's a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh that says, "Smile, breathe, and go slowly." Simple, yet utterly revolutionary in a world on fire with urgency. Because what Zen understands and what modern science now confirms is that our nervous system is overwhelmed. We're bombarded by stimulation, comparison, pressure. And most of us have never been taught how to pause, how to listen inward, how to breathe with intention. So we confuse anxiety for ambition, busyness for importance, and numbness for peace. But here's the truth. Peace isn't something you achieve. It's something you remember. You didn't lose it. You just stopped noticing. And the moment you stop, breathe, and really feel your feet on the floor, your breath in your chest, the sounds around you, you'll realize peace was never far. It's just been buried beneath layers of noise, of story, of speed. So before we go any further, I invite you to do one small thing. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Hold. Now exhale slowly. That breath is home. And it's always waiting. If you felt even a flicker of calm just now, drop a person in lotus position in the comments. Let's begin this journey inward, one breath at a time. What if everything you're searching for wasn't somewhere out there, but quietly waiting for you? Inside, you've tried fixing yourself, reading more, doing more, becoming more. But Zen doesn't say, fix yourself. Zen says, drop what's not you, because maybe peace isn't something to earn. Maybe it's something you forgot, and coming home to yourself is simply remembering. Let's pause here. What does it mean to come home to yourself? It doesn't mean retreating from the world. It means returning to the only place life ever happens. This moment, this breath, this body. But we've become strangers to ourselves. Think about it. When was the last time you sat, without music, without scrolling, without planning, and just noticed what was happening inside you? Most of us don't even realize we're absent from ourselves. We perform, we adapt, we play roles, all while our true self waits patiently behind the noise. Zen invites us to take off the mask, not to impress, not to explain, just to be. There's a Zen phrase that goes, before we were born, we had a face. It's called your original face. This face is your essence, before the world told you who to be. It's the part of you that doesn't care about your resume, your likes, your failures. It just is. But how do we reconnect with it? Start small. Sit, breathe. Notice the rise and fall of your chest. Feel the air touch your skin. Sense your body here now. You might feel restless at first. That's okay. That restlessness is the static of years of disconnection. Let it buzz and fade. Coming home to yourself doesn't happen through force. It happens through attention. You begin to notice the subtle tension in your jaw, the clenching in your belly, the way you hold your breath when you're anxious. You start to see your patterns, your reactions, your desires, not to judge them, but to recognize, this is part of me, and I'm still worthy. Zen practice doesn't ask you to be perfect. It asks you to be real, raw, honest, present, even when it's messy, especially when it's messy. There's a saying, you can't heal what you won't feel. And Zen adds, you can't return to yourself if you've never sat with yourself. So here's a practice. Each day, sit in silence for 5 minutes. No music, no guidance, just breath and presence. And ask softly, what part of me have I been ignoring? Maybe it's your grief. Maybe it's your joy. Maybe it's that still voice that says, slow down. Whatever rises, greet it gently, like a guest at your door. This is how we return, not with grand gestures, but with small acts of presence repeated with love. Because the truth is, you were never really lost. You were just distracted, and every breath is an invitation to come home. If this message resonates with you, comment, I'm coming home. Let's walk this path gently together. Have you ever been trapped, not in a room but in your own mind? Thoughts spinning, regrets replaying, anxieties predicting disasters that haven't even happened yet? You're not alone. Most of us live in a prison with invisible bars. Bars made of should have, what if, and I'm not enough. But here's the liberating truth that Zen whispers. You are not your thoughts. They come, they go, but you remain. Let's pause. Have you ever noticed a thought like, I'm a failure, or they don't care about me, or I'll never be happy? Feels so personal, so real. But what if it's just a cloud passing through the sky of your awareness, and you are the sky? Zen says, let thoughts arise and pass, like leaves floating down a stream. Don't stop the stream. Just don't jump in and drown. We've been conditioned to believe every thought we have. We assume because it's in our head it must be true. But your mind is not a courtroom. It's a storyteller, and sometimes a terrible one. It recycles old fears, projects worst-case scenarios. It makes up entire conversations that never happened. And yet we let it rule our emotions, our decisions, our lives. There's a Zen story. A student asked the master, How can I find peace? The master replied, stop arguing with your thoughts. The student said, but my thoughts are so loud. The master smiled, let them be. You don't need to attend every performance. You see, the problem isn't that we think. The problem is that we believe and become every thought. It's like watching a scary movie and forgetting it's just a screen. Zen teaches us to sit behind the screen. Observe, witness, let it play. But don't get pulled in. So how do we do this? Practice noticing. The next time a thought arises, instead of saying, I am sad, say, sadness is arising. Not, I'm anxious, but anxiety is visiting. This small shift creates space, and in that space is freedom. You are not the storm. You are the sky holding the storm, and storms always pass. It might sound simple. It is, but not easy. You'll forget. You'll get caught. You'll believe a thought and spiral. But then you'll remember, and that remembering is awakening. Over time, you'll begin to trust that beneath all the noise, all the thoughts, all the fear, there's a stillness, clarity, a presence that has always been there. That presence is you. So the next time your mind gets loud, don't fight it, don't fix it, just notice it, and whisper to yourself, these are just thoughts. I am the one watching. If you've ever been carried away by thoughts but long to return to peace, comment, I'm the sky. You'll be surprised how powerful that reminder can be. Do you remember the first time you tasted mango, or saw snow, or heard your favorite song? There was a spark, a stillness, a moment of full presence. But now, life feels routine. Another Monday, another meal, another conversation, and somehow wonder fades, and not because life changed, but because we stopped seeing. Zen calls us back to a different way of seeing, a mindset called beginner's mind. It means to meet each moment as if it's the first time, not with expertise, not with judgment, but with openness, a curiosity, and awe. Shunryu Suzuki, a great Zen teacher, said, in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few. Think about that. The more we know, the less we tend to feel. We label, categorize, predict, and in doing so, we stop truly living. We see the same person every day, but stop seeing their face. We eat the same food, but don't really taste it. We say, I love you, but it becomes a habit, not a revelation. Beginner's mind is the antidote. It's the art of looking again, with fresh eyes, like a child, before language, before logic. It's walking into your own kitchen and noticing the light on the counter as if you've never seen it before. It's sipping tea and actually tasting it. It's listening to a loved one without planning your response. And when we do this, the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Zen doesn't ask you to escape life. It invites you to enter it fully. And you can only enter what you're not rushing past. Beginner's mind slows us down. It breaks the trance of assumption and reawakens us to this mysterious dance we call living. But here's the beautiful part. You don't need to go to a mountain. You don't need a retreat. You just need to pause and ask, what if I've never seen this moment before? Because you haven't. This breath has never existed. This exact sunrise never repeated. This version of you never before and never again. So even if your life feels boring, the truth is, life is never boring. We just forget to look. So try this. Today, choose one thing, a walk, a meal, a conversation, and meet it with beginner's mind. Notice textures, colors, tones, smells, not as a chore, but as a rediscovery, like a traveler arriving in a foreign land. Because the world isn't dull. It's dazzling. You just need to remember how to see. If you're ready to reclaim your wonder, drop a seedling in the comments. Let's start again. As beginners, we all want freedom. Freedom from stress, from pain, from fear. So we try to control everything. Our schedule, our image, our relationships, even the way people perceive us. We micromanage life, hoping that if we get it just right, then we'll finally be okay. But Zen offers a quiet truth. Real freedom isn't control. It's surrender. It's not about making life behave. It's about releasing your grip and meeting life as it is. That might sound scary, because we've been told that control equals safety. But what if it's the very thing keeping us stuck? Think about it. When things go your way, you feel powerful. But the moment something breaks, a plan fails, someone disappoints you, traffic derails your morning, you feel helpless. Why? Because your peace was conditional, tied to things you can't actually command. Zen invites us to a deeper kind of peace, one that doesn't depend on what happens next. There's a Zen story of a farmer. His horse ran away. Neighbors said, "How terrible." He replied, "Maybe." Next day, the horse returned, bringing 3 wild ones. "How wonderful," they said. He answered, "Maybe." Then his son broke a leg taming one. "Oh no," they cried. He smiled, "Maybe." And then the army came to recruit young men. His son was spared. Every good and bad was just part of a bigger unfolding. The farmer stayed open. That's the heart of freedom. Not passivity, but trust. Not in a fairy tale ending, but in your ability to meet each moment fully. Freedom isn't about fixing life. It's about loosening your grip on how you think it should be. Because let's be honest, life rarely goes as planned. And the harder we try to force it, the more we suffer when it doesn't cooperate. Zen says, let go or be dragged. So how do we let go? Start by noticing where you're clinging. Are you trying to control someone's opinion of you? A perfect outcome? Your emotions? Take a breath. Can you soften just a little? Let go of the clenched jaw, the furrowed brow, the story of this must happen or else. And in that softness, you'll find space. Space to respond, not react. Space to adapt, not collapse. Freedom isn't being untouched by life. It's being untangled from it. It's the peace of the ocean depth, even when the surface storms. So today, ask yourself, where am I resisting what is? And what happens if I stop pushing? Because maybe, just maybe, you don't need to wrestle life into shape. You just need to flow with it. If you've ever felt exhausted by trying to control everything, comment, I choose flow. This might be the most powerful kind of freedom you've ever known. We spend so much of our lives running from sadness, from anger, from shame. We tell ourselves, if I just stay positive, it'll go away. If I ignore it long enough, it'll disappear. If I stay busy, I won't feel it. But here's the paradox. What you resist persists. What you meet transforms. Zen doesn't promise a life without pain. It offers something deeper, the power to face pain without being defined by it. Let me ask you something. When you feel grief, do you push it down? When anxiety comes, do you distract yourself? When shame whispers, do you pretend to be strong? You're not weak. You're human. But Zen invites us to try something radical. Don't run. Turn toward. There's a Zen story. A student came to his master, overwhelmed by anger. He said, it comes so strong, and I lose control. What should I do? The master said, next time it comes, invite it in. Serve it tea. Ask what it came to teach you. Sounds strange, but that's how healing begins. Not by suppression, but by welcoming what hurts. Imagine this. You're sitting in a quiet room, a knocking at the door. It's grief. You let it in. You don't interrogate. You don't fix. You just say, I see you. And in that seeing, the pain softens. It's still there, but now it's held, not hidden. Zen doesn't ask you to analyze your pain. It asks you to sit with it, to breathe with it, to offer it presence, not solutions. Because pain, when witnessed with compassion, becomes something else. It becomes a teacher. It tells you where you're still wounded, where you've been hard on yourself, where love hasn't reached yet. And the more you allow it to speak, the more it begins to dissolve. Not because it was erased, but because it was embraced. This is the paradox. When you stop trying to get rid of pain, it no longer controls you. You become spacious enough to hold it, without being shattered by it, like the sky holding both sun and storm. So if you're in pain now, don't run. Sit, breathe, place your hand on your heart. Say to yourself, I'm allowed to feel this, and I'm still worthy. You are not your pain. You are the one holding it with courage and grace. And that is healing. If this touched something tender in you, comment, I choose to feel, because sometimes the most courageous act is simply staying with yourself when it hurts. In a world that feels increasingly divided, where headlines shout, feeds scroll endlessly, and people pass each other without truly seeing, there's one medicine that cuts through the noise: compassion. Not pity, not charity, but the deep recognition. You and I are not separate. Zen teaches, when I understand you are me, and I am you, then your suffering becomes my concern. Not because I should care, but because I can't help but care. Let's go deeper. Most people think compassion is for the weak. Too soft, too emotional, too vulnerable. But here's the truth. Compassion is fierce. Takes courage to see pain without turning away. Takes strength to hold space for someone else's storm. It takes depth to say, I may not understand exactly, but I'm here. There's a Zen story. Two monks were walking after heavy rain. They came upon a woman unable to cross a muddy road. One monk lifted her and carried her across. Hours later, the other monk said, as monks, we're not supposed to touch women. Why did you do that? The first monk replied, I put her down hours ago. Why are you still carrying her? That's compassion in action. Not ruled by dogma. Not filtered through judgment. Just present and responsive. But here's the thing. Before we can offer compassion to others, we must learn to offer it to ourselves. So many of us carry harsh inner critics. We forgive others, but not ourselves. We speak gently to friends, but brutally to our own hearts. Zen says, start where you are, with who you are, right now. Not when you're healed, not when you've figured it all out. Now, when you offer compassion inward, you create the capacity to hold space outward. Because the truth is, every person you meet is fighting an unseen battle. The barista, the boss, the stranger who cut you off, even the one who hurt you. And when you see through their pain without excusing it, something shifts. Walls soften. The heart expands. Compassion doesn't mean letting people walk over you. It means seeing clearly and choosing to act with wisdom, not reaction. So what does this look like in real life? It's pausing before snapping. It's listening instead of lecturing. It's saying, I don't know what to say, but I'm here. It's sending a kind message, even when you feel awkward. Especially then, because every small act of compassion ripples into a world that's starving for softness. Today, I invite you to extend one act of compassion to someone else or to yourself. A kind word, a gentle breath, a moment of presence. It matters more than you know. If someone has ever held you in a hard moment, drop a yellow heart in the comments to honor them. Let's be the bridge that connects, not the wall that divides. Most people think spiritual practice happens on a mountaintop, in silence, in incense-filled rooms, with robes and rituals. But Zen says something radically simple. Every day is the path. Every moment is the practice. It's not about escaping life. It's about entering it fully. Because truth is, enlightenment doesn't wait for ideal conditions. It shows up in the most ordinary things. Washing dishes, tying your shoes, waiting in traffic. The great Zen master Dogen once said, to study the way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be one with all things. What does that mean? It means that even while chopping vegetables, you can wake up, not by doing it perfectly, but by doing it with full attention. Feel the knife, hear the rhythm, smell the garlic. Be there, because when you're truly present, the act becomes sacred. There's another Zen story. A student asked his master, "What's the path to enlightenment?" The master asked, "Have you eaten your rice?" The student said, "Yes." "Then wash your bowl." The master replied, "That's it.
No lecture. No mantra.
Just wash your bowl. It's not about what you do. It's how you do it. And most of us miss life. Not because we're doing the wrong things, but because we're not present for the right ones. You're brushing your teeth while thinking about emails. You're talking to a loved one while scrolling your phone. You're drinking coffee, but your mind is already at the next meeting. Zen invites you to return, not to slow living, but full living. So how do you practice Zen in action? Start small. Next time you're making your bed, feel the sheets. Notice your breath. Do it as if it matters, because it does. Not because making the bed changes the world, but because it changes you. Presence compounds. One mindful moment leads to another, and over time, you become the kind of person who brings presence into every space you enter. That presence is magnetic, calms the room, it deepens conversations, it makes even a cup of tea feel holy. So here's your invitation. Choose one daily task. Make it your practice. Whether it's folding laundry, walking the dog, or washing dishes. Do it not as a chore, but as a ceremony. Bring your whole self to it. Because when you do, you'll discover something extraordinary. Life was never mundane. You were just distracted. And now you're home. If you're ready to turn your ordinary moments into sacred ones, comment, "I'll wash the bowl." Let's make presence our practice. Most of us live like this. We chase, we plan, we hustle for the next thing. A better job, a healed relationship, a version of ourselves that's finally enough. We're always on our way to something. But Zen asks, what if you're already here? What if the present moment is all you need? Let that sink in. Because in truth, this breath is the only one guaranteed. This sunrise, the only one like it. This you, a version that will never exist again. But we miss it. We live in what was, or what might be. We rehash old conversations. We rehearse future ones. We tell ourselves, "I'll rest when. I'll be happy if." Zen pulls the curtain back and says, now is the only real thing, and it's enough. That doesn't mean stop growing. It means stop waiting to live. Because this moment isn't a stepping stone. It's the destination. There's a Zen phrase. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The same tasks, but different presence. Because when you're fully here, nothing is ordinary. Peeling an orange becomes a meditation. Hearing the rain becomes music. Looking into someone's eyes becomes a revelation. But presence isn't easy. We've trained our minds to wander, to speed ahead, to fix, judge, compare. And the present moment? It's quiet, uncontrolled, raw. But it's also real. It's the only place where love can be felt, where breath can be drawn, where life actually happens. So how do you return? Start simple. Pause. Feel your feet. Take a slow breath. Notice the light in the room, the sound behind the sound. Let it all be without changing anything. That's the miracle. You don't need to do anything. Just stop leaving. Because the present moment doesn't ask for improvement. It asks for attention. And when you give it that, you touch something holy. Not outside, inside. There's no need to chase peace. It's already here, when you are. So I invite you, sometime today, pause for 60 seconds. No phone.
No fixing.
Just be. If you feel something shift, even a little, comment. Now is enough. Because it is. And so are you. We carry so much, unspoken regrets, unfulfilled expectations, stories of who we should have been by now. We hold on to people who've left, to identities that no longer fit, to pain we don't know how to release. But what if the path forward isn't about holding tighter, it's about letting go, not in defeat, but in trust. Zen doesn't teach escape, teaches release, not because life is too much, but because you were never meant to carry it all alone. Think of a tree in autumn. It doesn't resist the falling leaves. It lets go gracefully, trusting spring will come again. Can you do the same? Can you release what's no longer nourishing you? That grudge, that guilt, that version of yourself you've outgrown. Because letting go isn't loss. It's making space for peace, for truth, for you. But here's the thing. Letting go doesn't always mean forgetting, or forgiving right away, or never feeling the pain again. It means you stop dragging the weight into every tomorrow. You acknowledge, this hurt, and I'm allowed to heal. You open your hands, metaphorically, even physically, and whisper, it's okay to lay this down. That is sacred. There's a Zen koan that asks, what is your face before your parents were born? It points to something deeper than roles, achievements, or pain. It points to you before all the layers, before all the holding. When you let go, even for a breath, you return to that original self. The one that knows peace not as a reward, but as a birthright. So here's the final invitation. Write down something you're ready to release, big or small. The thought, a name, a story. Then gently burn it, rip it, toss it in the wind. Not in anger, but in honor. Because that letting go, that is love. That is presence. That is freedom. And it's sweet, softer than control, quieter than achievement, but infinitely more real. If this moment feels like a door opening, comment, I'm ready. And remember, you don't need to become anything more. You only need to remember who you've always been, once you let go.